Hello and welcome to the second episode of the director's interview. My name is Isiah Cain. I am the founder of Batteries Not Included Media Group. I started the collective and the campaign for us back in 2021. And I just wanted to get together with a group of filmmakers. You know, I met a group of actors, I met a lot of other people, and that kind of led me down this path where I am now. So the director's interview is more of a introspective, also a retrospective into some of the projects that we've done. And today I have a special guest, my boy Cooper. Cooper now.
Yo.
I've known Cooper for a long time. Cooper, how old are you now?
I'm 18 now.
I believe I met him when he was like 8 or 9. I'm not too sure. But it was one of those two ages. And it's been amazing knowing him so far, seeing him grow. Um, I myself have also grown, starting off Western High School, going from there into video production. That's how I found myself. And today we're going to get into how Cooper found himself in the acting world. And not just acting, Cooper has also made his way into directing. Cooper was the director of our first short film in the BNI Presents lineup called Collection, a film that I had the opportunity to write, and we'll go into the details. We'll get into everything, break down some stuff for you guys. I'm really excited. Cooper, take it away. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let us know a little bit about you.
All right, cool. So my name is Cooper. As Isaiah said, I'm 18 years old. I started acting when I was about literally 8 or 9. So when I guess you met me, um, the reason why I started acting was because this is a funny story, I guess. So I saw a Disney commercial one day, just laying in the living room, my mom right next to me watching, and I told her, I said, "Mom, like I could do way better than this kid." She's like, oh yeah," and I think it was like more of like a test. She wanted to see if I actually would be like wanting to like see if I could prove myself better. And when I went into acting classes, I actually started to like it, and that's when the whole journey started. And whenever I would go into acting classes after the first couple months, they would ask me, "Coop, why do you want to do acting?" And it's funny because I'm still studying with my first teacher today, and my only response then was, "I want to make some money. I want to get some cash." And like the whole class would laugh and everything. But now I actually found it to where it's not become a hobby. It's not a job for me. It's more of a passion of something that I actually want to do. Like I don't want to be stuck working in a restaurant for 30 years of my life. I want to do something that I really enjoy doing, and to me that is acting. I love breaking down scripts. I love watching movies. Like my favorite movie of all time is The Wolf of Wall Street. I love Leonardo DiCaprio. He's my favorite actor of all time, and just
I was
going
going
down
to ask
this
you that. I
rabbit
was
hole.
going to ask
It's
you that.
yeah. Um, but going down the rabbit hole of acting, it's mind blowing to see what opportunities are actually available, and knowing that I can honestly just keep getting better, and it motivates me. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. For starters, for those that are first timers watching this episode, that's strange. Go back and watch episode 1 with John DeMarco. In this episode, similar to the last episode, it's a introspective, retrospective, and we have a few categories. And we have a few questions, and in those questions, with those questions, as the overarching category. All right. So we're going to start off with origins. Why this story? Why now? When we get into the director side. But right now, because you are an actor first, we're going to get into origins. You talked a little bit about Leonardo DiCaprio being your favorite actor. And then you also talked about seeing that Disney commercial. So I need to know. I need to know. Drop a name. Do you remember who was on screen? Is it like someone that's famous now?
Okay, honestly, I watched a lot, and I've actually thought about this because I really, it's not that I don't remember, but the only person that I think would do it was it had to have been that guy Henry Danger. I forget his name now, but if you remember the show Henry Danger, Like the reason why I was even mad in the first place too is because the
Yeah,
dude looked just like me. I'm
yeah,
like, I could do the same thing that he's doing. So
yeah.
I think that actually is who it was.
I I forgot his name. Oh, Jace something. It's Jace something. Drop his name
Okay.
in the comments, guys. That's there. So when you speak about Leonardo DiCaprio,
Hmm.
talk to me about 8 or 9 year old Cooper that's sitting there watching your first Leonardo DiCaprio movie. What was it, and what was that going through your head? What made you say, okay, that's the type of actor that I want to be? Because Leo's very, very into it. He's, I want to say, for Django, he gets a lot of credit for that movie.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
another movie with him and Tiana Taylor. Oh God, I forgot the name of it. No, not me blinking, not me blinking. Don't hate me, guys. I'm gonna use our friend Google really quick.
Yep. Yep.
I'm pretty sure Leonardo DiCaprio is gonna watch this and be like, "If you don't know my movies, you can't interview me." It's called One Battle After Another. I always call it
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
One Battle After Another. What a really good film. Sidetrack. I was watching V for Vendetta, and I said, these, these movies kind of parallel each other. We'll get into that later. But what movie was your Leonardo DiCaprio origin, like that just said, "Hey, I want to be like this"?
So, and it sounds crazy because my parents let me watch anything. I like
Yeah,
my first real love for movies was horror. So like growing up, I would watch, Saw, Jason Voorhees, a little Freddy Krueger in there. So I never really had like a censor when it came to movies. My mom was like totally okay with it.
yeah.
But it's funny because like I said, it is my favorite movie. I think the first Leo movie I watched was either The Wolf of Wall Street or it had to be Titanic, I think.
Mm,
Um it was one of those, and then it just kept getting better and better in there. Like I remember watching him younger in The Revenant, and when it was going up for the nominations, like I think that was like my even first time watching, the Academy Awards and all that. So I was like, dang, like Leo really is cool. I really should freaking base some of my work off of him. Like I'm really loving this guy.
yeah, and for me, it's Viola Davis, Denzel Washington,
Hmm.
Will Smith. I have so many other people that I look up to when it comes down to, those are just a few.
Yeah.
Um, But when it all boils down, like Quentin Tarantino, I look at some of his work as a director. He's very hands-on, you know, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I want to model my work after some of these people, like Rob Reiner, rest in peace. People like that really made their audience go for it.
Hmm.
My, I guess, turn on point to Leonardo DiCaprio was not Titanic. It was What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course. I think that's my mom's favorite movie
Yeah,
by him by far.
no, yeah. Shout out to Heather, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out moms.
But yeah, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Johnny Depp and Leonardo DiCaprio. That's a duo that I really wasn't expecting. We're gonna talk about duos as well because you and I have collaborated on quite a few things, produced and non-produced.
Hmm.
But for my next question, before directing Collection, you were known to our audience primarily as an actor. In fact, you were playing Jacob Fairfax in the Fairfax Incident film that we produced. If you had the chance to come to the premiere, then you know that Cooper played Jacob Fairfax, our main character. Cooper, I do want to say that I've never seen up until that moment where I was when I was writing that film. I had not ever seen an actor prepare for a fucking you can curse on here, by the way. I haven't
Yeah.
seen a actor prepare for a fucking role before. So seeing you break down the character, be side by side with me on how we can build and some things that we can take away and things that Jacob would do, and I was just like, damn, this is so immersive. And I've gone on to be with every other actor like that. Some actors that I've worked with, they're more so like, this is my homework, not selfish, but they're like, let me, but I'm
Yeah.
like into it because of you. I want to ask, what's your process for breaking down a character? And I'm asking that because there's a follow-up question for it, or it's a relevant question in the future. Um,
Mhm.
so what's your breakdown process for acting?
Well, even with auditions, normally what I usually do is, this is kind of bad on me because I know I should be acting for myself in my intentions of what I think the character should portray, but I build off of thinking of a character that would play this role. So for Jacob Fairfax, it almost was giving, and even you told me to watch the movie The Batman with Robert Pattinson. I needed to get into that deeper mode within myself, knowing that I have something no one knows about. I mean, yeah, I guess it's just like the Batman. No one knows he's Batman, but no one knows that I really am a murderer. No one knows that I'm capable of what is being shown in the movie until that point comes across. No spoilers, but um, I always portray it off of an actor that I really like.
Mm. Was American Psycho kind of like more
Oh
inspirational for
shoot!
you?
Yeah. American Psycho was a good one too.
Yeah,
I remember we talked about that. Yep,
yeah,
Christian Bale. Yeah,
yeah.
he's one of my favorite actors too. But yeah, even American Psycho, freaking that movie. That's one of my top movies of all time. And what he did in that movie, I think it was those two that I really tried studying heavily on. Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
it was those.
mm.
Hmm.
There was a moment in production, during production for the Fairfax incident, where we were filming in the house for 7 days. Do you remember that during the
I
summertime?
vividly.
At the end of that 7 day shoot, you stood on top of the table and you congratulated everybody for all the hard work. Do you remember the feeling as an actor having a project that you led and that has just wrapped? Can you explain that feeling for those that haven't yet got on set yet but are interested in acting?
Yeah. um. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a. I don't know if you've even ever seen the clip, but there's this clip of Kobe Bryant, and he's sitting at the press conference right after a game, and I think he went like 3-2 in the series. Like they're just about to win the series to go into the championship, or maybe it is the championship. But the reporter's like, "You're up 3-0. Like, why aren't you happy?" And Kobe's like, "Job's not finished. Job's not finished." So when I was congratulating everybody, I did feel a sense of relief, but it just always, like, in the back of my head, I was like, the job's not finished. Like there's so much stuff behind the closed doors that we still need to do. But like it felt like it felt it felt like finally this is happening.
Mm,
Finally it's coming to fruition. I've
right.
never been in a feature film till now, and now that I can say that I actually did it, like I mean, my humbleness was gone. Like I was about to tell everyone, yeah, like I'm a star of a film. What you talking about? Like I finally did this after 8 years of freaking studying this crap. Now I can say that I did it. You know what I mean? But still, I was like, the job's not finished. I want to do more.
Yeah.
Like that it felt like just a beginning point. Like honestly, when I was finished, I felt like I was a rookie. I'm like, dang, like people really do this and then move on to their next movie. Like I need to start getting on my grind, and it increased my motivation the entire way.
I'm happy that that can happen, that was able to happen for you. I think it was Viola Davis who said it best, like, just because you win an award or you finish with the film, the goal is to always keep going, because what's going to happen is the next year comes and that award that you get, someone else is going to get for the same category that you got it in the
Yeah.
year prior, you know? So that's same thing with me. Everybody that's watching, we we made that film in the towards the end of production. We actually lost someone, RIP Roger Cole. He passed away August 5th. Our premiere, we had it in September. So the Fairfax incident only really sits at what, 46 minutes and some change.
Yeah.
Roger's other scenes not being able to be completed. So there's that. We'll get into more details a little later about different plans and things like that. But I say that to say it wasn't until the premiere where I really felt that exhilarating emotion, where I felt that if I don't continue this, I will not have experiences like this. Working with your mom, having her help produce, especially towards the end of things, yourself, Kat, Michael Rebelski, everyone who assisted us in bringing not only the project but the premiere to life. I left there going, I want to do this again. I want to do this for a lifetime. This, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's the Netflix awards, the Oscars, the BET awards. I don't care what it is. I want to do stuff like this. It was the stage. It was the crowd of people. I was not expecting that many people, and then all of a sudden, I make it back home, and I now that I think about it, and this is so crazy. I had two things that I was supposed to say on stage that night. The first thing was a speech that I wrote. And I didn't get to perform the speech because I was so fucking nervous. It was a big thank you to everyone. And I was supposed to perform that same speech at I'm gonna be shady. I was supposed to perform that same speech at the Black Film Festival here in Las Vegas, but I lost. So
So did I. So did I.
Mosaic Symphony, Joshua David Smith, Stronger, Adrian Lockett, Spook Hunters, McKenna Cooley, Coley, and the Fairfax Incident, Cooper Nelson.
And the award goes to Adrian Lockett.
but so I didn't get to perform either that speech anywhere. But my second speech for a premiere night was gonna just detail how tired I was. You know, I had been doing this for 4 years at that point. 2 years writing and then the 2 years filming, and I was just like, I'm fucking tired. Like, I'm in a relationship that I don't want to be in. There's so many things going on in my personal life. I just wanted to focus. But it wasn't until I made it home that I realized, like, God damn it, I didn't even say what I was supposed to say. And I think it was because it wasn't meant to. I was meant to feel that vibe that night. And since then, kid me not, have we pushed and been in a momentum that
Boy,
has,
we have been working.
yeah. So getting into it, we actually presented what was it? 6 short films.
Man.
The first up was Collection. We're gonna get into Collection.
Mhm.
Collection was actually my first time saying, here, take this. I've never done that before. And I felt like if I did it in the sense of writing it and giving it away, if I did it and created this template, this tone breakdown, this guideline, I mentioned that in the last episode. It may have sounded shady, but it wasn't, in the sense of guardrails. And I did that because I feel like there's, from my experience, moments where when I've told actors like, oh, I went to acting school, or I've studied under so and so, they kind of get snobby with me. They kind of think it's it's an actor telling another actor what to do. And
Yeah.
in reality, I've had to come to myself and go, yeah, I could have approached this differently. So that's what the tone breakdown is. It's also, I wanted the directors and those people that I selected to get into the world, because none of that information, most of that stuff, you'll find within the script. This is so short. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Collection is literally like 6 minutes, 7 minutes.
Well, I think it's even shorter.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's double check. Let me
Yeah.
fact check
I'm
myself.
pretty sure it's shorter.
Let me fact check myself. Um, Collection is 2 minutes and 19 seconds.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very short. I want to say it was less than 4 pages. Okay. So that tone breakdown was very useful in getting not only the director, but the cast and the cinematographer. And that was our first time also using Milanote. John had introduced Milanote. We mentioned that in the previous episode. For those that are watching this episode without watching the first one, the Milanote assisted us in pre-production. John had already gone through, after reading the script, he took the lead and went ahead and decided on, different things that he can show us, different demos, whether it was lenses or it was inspired shots, things that, would inspire him from what he had read. And we went on to use those same tactics for our other projects. So with collection, my dear boy, why, when I presented collection, because I put you, Brandon, myself, and Kat in a group, that's the background. And I said, hey, I want to go ahead and write these. I have these projects written. I want to go ahead and find some directors. Wanted to know if you guys are interested. That's not verbatim, but that's how the conversation just went. Why did collection feel like the right story for you? Not that I gave you a choice. I don't think I really presented you a choice, but when you read it, why did it feel like the right story for you, if it was?
We wrote some of it together. So
Mhm.
that's the first part. We already worked on Fairfax, and if we excelled in a theme like that, like why not try to do it again? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I felt that it was almost perfect for me to actually start writing this. You know what I mean? Like use everything that I learned from watching all these movies and put it into fruition. You know what I mean?
That I love that.
Mhm.
That's one thing about collection as well. It's so minimal. The space is tight. It's just two characters, and it's real gritty. I'm gonna be honest. When I was editing it, I was just like, oh, I don't. It's not getting me. My brother, I hold him dearly. Meezy, I love you, and let me tell you why. When he's here and he's in this chair that's sitting right here, most of you think this is a studio, but it's not. But when you're in this chair, when he's in this chair and he sees things that I don't see, there's a scene in Collection where Gabe, I forgot Shaquem, I didn't forget, sorry, Shaquem,
Mhm.
but he goes by Gabe. He's coming out of the restroom and he leans like this on the door. My brother's like, put that in there. But use the scene that I use the take that you guys did from a different angle. And you see it play out, and I said, "Oh my God!" The shots make it really thriller-esque. Um,
Mhm.
my goal with collection was a follow-up. Me and John also talked about that in the last episode. Um, when it comes down to follow-up, I think collection itself being where it's at, starting off where it started, or starting what it started, I think it set the tone for what we can do. So a follow-up not necessary because it's our foundation. That's the first video that people go back to, you know. Um, my second question, what themes or questions were you personally drawn to when you first engaged with the script?
Dang. Well, I wanted something where there was tension. I, as an actor, I think I do pretty good in scenes with tension, and I love building off of that. Um, and I wanted something that I knew a lot about on, so that I could study even with the actors as well. I was directing it, but even you were saying that I was coming off as an actor. I'm like, I gotta relax. I gotta relax. But um, I wanted something where the audience could not only relate, but understand clearly of what's going on in the scene. For it only being 2 minutes, I needed there to be a beginning, middle, and an end, and they could see it. you know?
Yeah, we needed a beginning, middle, and end in 2 minutes and 19
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you spoke about just now, from what I heard, was intention. You know, you want to put them in the moment, you want to put them in the reason, you want to put them in the why, and you want to give out as much information as possible. I'm gonna shout out our boy Jonathan James on this,
Mm-hmm.
because today, right before this interview, I was searching Instagram, just going through, and I ran across his story. And he was speaking about, on his story, he's speaking about how he's never encountered a character that he fully understands, and how it's always sometimes good. You see, I said always and sometimes, because always, yes, you do want to be in the moment, in the know-how, but sometimes you also want to have some homework done before you make it to set. Allow me to explain. The intention of the character, it's totally sometimes there and it's sometimes not. I've read scripts where I'm like, ooh, I've written some scripts. We've just talked about it. 2-3 page script. You don't have much uh, explanation. So you go off of what is and what will be. I remember on set, we were speaking about a specific scene where the character, played by Emily, walks into the frame and she looks under the dresser because she sees something and she pulls it out. I remember us in that room going, why would she do that? Why? What's
Yeah.
already happened? And I remember us going into the living room and explaining to them. And then when he came out the bathroom, why? Why would he lean like this? Well, simple. He has no fear in her. In fact, he's psychologically fucking her right now. That shit might be hers. Like, we don't know, and so that's perfect that you even said that, and it's perfect that Jonathan James was talking about intention today, because it is true. A lot of those scripts, a lot of those projects, a lot of actors have to have the intention, the know-how, the why, and the reasoning. My third question: did your experience on the Fairfax incident influence the way you approached your first film as a director?
Yes. It allowed me to understand what's going on behind the camera instead of in front of the camera. As an actor like myself, there would be times on set where I'd just be, playing on my phone, getting antsy about, when the next shot's gonna be, and then, when the shot comes up, I'm like, oh shit, I don't know my fucking lines. Oh shit, let me think about it. But knowing what's going on behind the camera in the Fairfax, being there, 7, 8 days straight watching you guys, it allowed me to realize that you, Isaiah, you never had a dull moment to yourself.
Mm,
Like, sure, I could have been playing on my phone talking to the other actors, but there was never a moment where you weren't moving, where you weren't working. You know what I mean? So, like, you can't say that we're wasting time. You can't say that we're relying on this and somebody. Like, everything takes a certain amount of time, and it's never anyone or anything's fault unless it wasn't prepared,
100.
for the actual shoot. And
Yeah.
that's what I had to go in filming Collection. It was the patience.
Mhm.
I knew it was going to be a long night. It was Emily's first time on screen,
Uh,
so I had to make her understand, like, you know, let's
mhm.
do rehearsals, let's do this, let's let's just chill out for a second while I think about this. And it honestly ended up going very smooth.
Yeah. You mentioned Emily's first time on screen. Um, you also mentioned the going over things, rehearsing lines. What was it like? And be completely honest. What was it like before you met them? Like before they got there? Was there
Yeah.
any internal thoughts?
Well, obviously nerves, like, you know, we're doing all this together and it's like they need to be comfortable with each other, which means that I have to work with them to build trust, right? So for starters, I mean, we hopped on a ton of calls before the shoot and I made them exchange numbers so they could ask questions to each other if they had any, or if they wanted to ask questions to me, they could, right? As an actor, even I find it hard working with another actor over the phone. It's like almost impossible for me. It's triple the amount of times better to work with someone in person. Like that's just it right there. I remember inviting them over early to the shoot so we could run rehearsals. Like I know it was only 3 or 4 pages, but I wanted them to feel secure about what they were doing, what their job was, and how they can easily complete it without any nerves taking over. Also, making them come early and let them watch us firsthand how we're setting up everything. You know, I think that made them feel more comfortable. And I didn't tell them that I was a professional actor. Okay. Right. So when I was working with them, I mean, I guess they could have looked up my name and my Instagram, which they probably did, but I don't think they took it as serious as I was taking acting very serious, and I still am taking it serious. But I made it to where, so if they did mess up, I told them that it wasn't that big of a deal. Not that it was important, but we had all night to film. And I wanted to get all the shots that I wanted to get. And like for an actor, all you think about is, the lines and directions that are set in stone with the script. And knowing that that's all you have to do, it gets scary because it's just one job, right? And you know, comparing the jobs to them and me and you, we were doing a whole lot more than them. So I tried making them feel like it's easy going, it's easy, and I wanted them to feel comfortable so it would look natural on the camera.
I love that. That actually leads us into our next segment, not really segment, but our next overall topic, development and collaboration. So in John DeMarco's case, the collaboration happened between, his wife, Niall Odom, his wife, Ashley, and Niall Odom. That sounds better. And then myself, because I wrote the first draft and gave the initial idea, but then his collaboration also extended into production. So your collaboration, not only between you and I, with the writing, and then John with the cinematography, but also between the actors. You were very, very, very up close, shoulder by shoulder, and again explaining those intentions, and building trust. I think that's one thing that really worked well between these two. Is it is her first time on screen, so the performance that she gives, it is real. I think we really coached her into like, yo, those are some real teeth. Like this man is really your husband. Like and she really gave that. I really liked her performance. What and how do you, like as an actor, how do you work with trust when it comes down to your co-star or someone that you're working with? How does trust work?
What's funny about it is like I always get told that I talk a lot. Like I just, for me, I love talking to people, and I think it actually does come from acting. But obviously, you can only get comfortable with someone if you talk to them and know a little bit about them. And I remember, I think Emily's husband, or I don't know if it was a boyfriend. I want to say it was her husband.
Her
Right?
fiance, I believe.
Fiance. Okay, yeah. So her fiance came over too, filming with us. He was only in there for a little bit, but I think her knowing that he was there for a little bit and he felt cool in there, I think it just helped even better. And getting to know her in person rather than just on a little Google Meet or Zoom call. I mean, it allowed her to see that we weren't bullshitting.
Yeah.
This was.
No. Please go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I like it's a real set. You know what I mean? And like, there may be mistakes, and if there is, we just go right over them and we fix them. It's not hard to do that in our industry. You know what I mean? So I told her there was nothing that she should be worried about, and if anything, try to be as real as a person as you can. You know what I mean? As you are right now, and that's what she portrayed on the screen.
I love that. And that's the best advice that you can give is, try to be as authentic as possible. I did want to add something that we were speaking about before the brief interruption. The idea of extensive communication. As a production team, it's so important, so important. Just as a collective, you mentioned for Fairfax, you didn't see me really sit down. That's where the title comes from, batteries not included. But you didn't really see me sit down. You didn't really see me on my phone. And that's because I was wearing every helmet that you can think of, trying to get things corrected, trying to get things, in this case, collected. I see what I did there. But I was working my ass off to make sure that we were able to execute, you know. So trust plays really big in that execution factor, which leads into my next question. As a first-time director, how did you balance having a clear vision while remaining open to collaboration? Most times as actors, most of your homework is done at home, rehearsing your lines. How does it feel being in the opposite chair?
Well, first and foremost, I took my time with everything. I tried not being a shadow of, the great Isaiah, but a lot of the direction I was taking was actually influenced by you and some of the sets that I've been on. So in theory, you know, like I had to be the main guy. I was ready to make mistakes and was totally cool with it, which I did, but we went through them. So
Yeah. And that's the thing about like mistakes. Once you learn from them, the goal is to not make them again. Like making Fairfax, there was so much that I learned sending the film out to selective people like John DeMarco, who's able to give me honest feedback, and like people like Taylor Torres, my mother, who still watches the film to this day. She was watching it yesterday, actually. It's so crazy.
that's fire. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like all of those individuals that I trust, to bring out the best in me, I do go to them for those things. So that's really good that you were able to see myself in this vision of how you were tackling this film. I like that. Were there any moments during development where the film changed significantly from your original idea, or from the original idea?
Well, not that the idea changed, but I think the tone and timing I was looking for did. Like we had more shots for the film
Mhm.
before we started editing and the final cut came out. However, like yeah, when we were editing them, the sound was off or the camera wasn't focused. But like overall, I think that it gave the idea and theme that I was looking for to the audience.
Yeah. And not only that, but that was our first time doing a collaborative edit. And what I mean by that is normally I'm editing alone. This time John did some editing from his home and he sent over a LUT. For you that don't edit, a LUT is information at the lower third of the screen. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Um, so when he sent it, I loved it. It was like this blue take on everything that we did. It gave depressing, it gave mystery, it gave elegance. And then I said, oh, I need some shadows, I need some silhouettes. So I threw my own color on there. And then I promise you, when I sent Kat Rebelski is someone that I go to when it comes down to color. I wear glasses, guys, and no shits on people with glasses, but your boy don't be seeing color sometimes. So I send it out to go get reviewed, like everybody should. And she tells me for John, she goes, For mine, she goes, I put them together and she goes, that's the shit. I show my brother, same thing. I'm like, okay, we're on to something, So that was the first time being collaborative there. And I think watching the actors kind of go at it, even though they didn't rehearse as we wanted, it was more so having a first take and a second take, a third take, and it being more realistic and built off of that. A lot of trust that you, again, built before we started shooting. How did your background as an actor inform the way you communicated with the performers on set?
Well, to make them feel as comfortable as they could, I made it seem like I was just aware as them on set. Um, and what's funny about it is usually, I mean, I do rehearse like everything like with the actors once I get them in person. But what's funny is that as you were just saying, I actually think it worked well that we didn't, or the rehearsal didn't go as I think we planned it, we wanted it to go, because we that 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 relationship between Emily and Gabe actually built, I think, a tension,
Mhm.
like just a teeny bit of tension, and it played so well into it, I think.
Yeah. She and I hope I don't get shit for saying this. Like, I love everyone. She was my favorite. Like, I've contacted her since then to work with us again. She's very busy with other personal stuff, and so Emily Weisgarber, if you see this, we miss you. Um, Sincerely, really want to work with you. She was to me, and I don't care what anybody says, she was a modern day Shelley Duvall. Like, if you could,
Whoa.
no, let me say this: if you could put her through The Shining, if you could put her through The Shining, and have that scene where she's explaining to the fucking therapist where she has a cigarette in her hand and the cigarette is just burning, like Emily can pull that off. I
Yeah,
promise you. That whole monologue, and
I
that's
see
who,
it.
yeah, that's who she reminds me of. Like, I promise you, I see something in her. Emily Weisgarber, we're rooting for you. Um, Literally. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, Emily, if you haven't already. So we're gonna get into production.
Hmm.
We're gonna talk about execution and challenges. What was the most challenging aspect of directing Collection for the first time?
So the most challenging part for me was getting the the communication in point. Like
Mm,
I had to see when everyone was free. Not only that, but when I was free too, because I had school and work going on. But I had to take some of that off to focus on this. Um, we took our time writing the script, and when we were there at the film location, I feel that we were just in a flow state, doing everything in time how we wanted it. But the hardest part for me was getting everything in check right before the shoot. You know what I mean? Like I've never done that before,
yeah,
and making sure that we have props, making sure that we have the tools. Like if he forgets a lens, John, or the adapter.
yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, we suck at that adapter shit. Yeah.
yeah. But making sure that all that was to a T, I think it put my stress level super high because
Yeah.
it was falling all on me, because if something was wrong, I was supposed to fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then here's the thing too. We spoke about challenges. I think the biggest challenge was that damn puzzle. Do you remember
Oh
the
yeah. Oh
damn-
my God.
So for y'all that don't know, in the movie Collection, uh, Emily's character is sitting at the table, and in the original draft, she's supposed to, or in the original script, she's supposed to be like playing with a puzzle or something, like doing something with this puzzle, and we were trying to deal with the puzzle, and I don't think Heather could like put it together. I don't think we finished it in time, and we were just like, oh fuck this puzzle, and
We
the
didn't finish it in time. That's what it was.
yeah, we literally um we had snacks, we had water, like everything was so professional. It was just that damn puzzle. So we ended up cutting the puzzle, and then we added the tea to the table, and everything just started to flow. Like he just said, like there was this amazing flow, this bucket of energy. And I think I left there going, I'd like to do this again. In the group chat that I put you, me, Kat, and Brandon in, I did show y'all what was it at the time? 4 projects at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, And going from collection to Love Goes, we'll get into that. But going from collection to Love Goes and seeing that growth, you don't know how many rooms I've sat in, Cooper. And they watch collection first, and then they watch Love Goes, and they go, wow, that's growth. And that's why I love collection, because it shows that we literally went in there with everything that we had. And I'm not gonna lie, during the editing process, I was just like, fuck, like, dude, like, is it the color? Is it me? Like, I was so nervous about releasing it, because it's like, and I always get like that. It's a thing, you know. I feel like I'm so attached emotionally to the editing, not the story. I can always cut some shit out, not the actor. I can always replace. But when it comes down to editing, it's like I'm the last line of defense. If something is spelled wrong, if something looks bad, if something is too dark, if something sounds off, that entire audience is looking at me.
Yeah.
Not only that, but your boy, just for right now, happens to be the face of BNI. So everything looks, you know, in this direction.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't want to let it down. Like you said, as a director, in directing this project, you had to make sure that everything was going according to plan, and the film shows. Um, there's a strong sense of tension throughout the film. How intentional was that tone? Now, we did talk about their little tension that they had between each other, and then we talked about how we set up the intention. But how intentional was the tone? Do you remember what we were going for in the beginning when we first wrote the film?
Well, I feel like tension can build with no action, right? So to me, I wanted the tension to build as they were deep in their thoughts, and they suddenly got closer to each other. And it kind of just makes your stomach want to clench up, like you're getting a six pack, waiting for something to happen. And I had to make sure that their facial expressions were on point, as there weren't too many lines that were actually in the script. Um, and then as far as the tone goes, I think that we captured it, but honestly, for me, I mean, it was only 2 minutes long.
Yeah,
It's difficult to build something that's only 2 minutes.
yeah.
Like understand the relationship. So I think the time on screen where they weren't talking, I think that was actually the best time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Enough was said.
yeah, enough
Yeah,
said. Like no diss to the actors at all. I'm just
yeah.
saying like that was the built right there. Like them just kind of looking at each other, breathing a little bit, maybe a little nod of the head a little bit. Like that's where the real acting was.
So especially when he leaned on the door
Yeah.
frame, you know, I was just like, that's nuance that you're bringing. That's not really in the script. I know him taking a step forward is, you know, that's in the script, and her backing up against the wall is in the script and stuff like that. But I think one of the things that I would have done different to build on the tension is to kind of get closer and more intimate between the characters. It being only 2 minutes and 19 seconds, I'm kind of happy that we didn't meet these people in the beginning of
Yeah.
their relationship, you know, or we're not at the end. We're smack dab in the middle, you know, kind of like when the movie starts or when the show starts, and it starts off with that person saying, so there I was, you know, in Derek's office, you know, just smack dab in the middle. And
Yeah.
it surrounds us around these two characters. One is very indifferent. uh Gabe, that character still kind of scares me.
Yeah.
um can you talk about a specific day or scene on set that tested you as a director, either on set, in this case because it was only one day of filming, on
Yeah.
set or before we filmed?
Um yeah, so I guess the scene or the quote unquote monologue that tested me as a director when Emily was doing her little monologue talking about like there's these girls with the missing scarf, and when she was talking to Greg, right? The reason why this tested me is because No diss at all. It was just her first time being on film, right? But I needed her to keep her composure from that being in her head, um, to living in the actual scene, right? Like even I have a lot of issues like that as an actor. Like I mean, I still do, being in my head about in a scene, thinking about what my next action will be throughout it, and
Martha.
I had to tell her like it's honestly amazing that it's her first time, because she had the lines down. Now it was just, naturally saying them. Like, how would you say them to me right now? And she would talk to me. And it would be like, just talk to me, talk to Greg, how you would say the lines. And she did it phenomenally in my opinion. I got police sirens over there. They're going for Emily. Did you hear it? Did you hear the
Yeah.
sirens? Yeah, they're coming for Emily right now because they know it was
You're
fucking
going down,
nuts.
Emily.
Yeah. So not that it tested me, but it definitely showed how I, as an actor, could help another actor out, being humble, being organized, being professional, and showing them as a director how I wanted it to be done.
Yeah.
And like it was a smooth conversation. You know what I mean? There wasn't any like argument or fighting, which, I thought when a director does tell that to an actor, I think there usually is, but there wasn't.
It depends. I know David Cornsweet and James Gunn, for Superman. There's some behind the scenes footage of them going back and forth.
Oh, I did see that. I did see that.
But that is what I call passion.
Mm-hmm.
That is an actor asking. That's an actor basically saying, "I don't understand what's been given to me," and it's not in the sense of, "Oh, I'm illiterate, I can't read." No, 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 no. I want to know, if this has already happened, why are we doing this? It should never be a and then in this. It should always be, but why is he doing this? Why would Superman feel this way? And it's that specific scene where he says, I feel too. I'm human just as much as you, maybe even if not or more, or however he said it in that monologue before Crypto comes and eats that ass up.
Yeah.
But yeah, but he's tackling it a little different than I believe how James Gunn would have wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
I think with that sparring or with that back-to-back conversation and that intensity between the two individuals as human beings, they were able to deliver as characters. I don't mind it, but I also feel like none of us have been to the mountaintop. None of us are Denzel Washington. He hasn't auditioned since 1989. Okay. He gets a phone call and he'll take the role or he won't take the role.
Yeah.
None of us are there yet. So I know, based off of my writing capabilities, what I'm capable of. And that's why I communicate the way that I do. I have meetings the way that I do. We use Milanote the way that we do. Milanote, again, introduced to us by John DeMarco. It is a pre-production, post-production. It's a production planner and organizer. It has assisted us, sponsorship. It has assisted us in doing these short films. And it's even led us into Party Girls. But with Collection, like I said, John was able to show us different shots, educate us on things, and that's the communication that's needed as well. Having the actors being able to visually see what you're looking at really helps.
Yeah.
You Milanote. What did you learn about leadership once you were responsible for the entire production and not just your performance?
Well, okay, this might sound bad, but to be honest, I don't think many people understand what it takes for me and you to be directors. Like we're not just there to direct. Like anyone can say action and cut, right? But we're there to push the actors beyond what's expected to them or of them, right? And that's like a necessity. And to show that, it's hard to be humble because a lot of people don't want to listen, not that they're in their heads, but they have a unique idea on how they want to play it. And a big thing for actors is they're hard of listening, they're hard of hearing. You know, when we as directors tell them to do something, it's not exactly how we want it, you know, but when it's done perfectly, when there's listeners, it helps not deprive the world of showing that this actor could be the next Leonardo DiCaprio, the next Viola Davis. You know what I mean? So being a leader, you have to put that hat on in order to steer the ship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember we were on the set for Party Girls, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my birthday. We were filming the studio scene, and we ran into so many fucking issues. We had so many different things going on, guys. And I was just Jesse Owens that shit, just hopping over those hurdles to where Levi McDonald, he is a host. He's the host of the Talk Smack with. I'm just dropping fucking
Dropping names, man.
he's the host of Talk Smack with Mac. Shout out. He gave me my first interview, my first legitimate interview. But he asked me on set, like, how do you overcome this shit and still like be focused on what we're doing? You know, just that. I've prepared for it. You know, I've prepared for it along the way. I have been through some things. And leadership is definitely one of those things where it's not for everybody. It is not for everybody. I say it all the time. I would talk shit about my job right now, but you know, I need a 9 to 5. Not everybody deserves to be a leader. Not everybody deserves that. Some people deserve, you know, to work for people,
Right.
not people
Yeah.
work. Right now, we're gonna get into reflection and bigger picture as we gear up towards the end here. Now that collection is out there,
Mm-hmm.
how do you view it looking back?
Gosh,
Completely honest. This is your interview.
I mean,
You.
I feel like we could have done so much better. I mean, like shot wise, I think it was good. The thing I guess I would change is obviously most definitely the length
Mhm.
and the amount of B-roll that we could have gotten. Like again with this tension crap, but I think we needed more tension.
Yeah.
Like, if it was 5 minutes, you know, like I think was there not editing issues because I know there was so many like shots of like maybe her like stepping out of the chair
Yeah.
that we didn't get.
It were definitely editing issues more so. If I remember correctly, it was more so like lighting and
Yeah.
shades that I was dealing with when it came down to, you know, coloring and continuity.
Mm-hmm.
But also as well, if I'm being honest, it was continuity. There was a few things,
Yeah.
the actors, where I was just like, like there was this,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, you are right.
I told you I was gonna get into it.
Yeah.
These director interviews, these
I didn't know
info.
he was going that deep, but you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
there was a few issues, and so it was that moment where Gabe is supposed to step to Emily. It was just off a little bit, you know, that step. Had we as because and this is one thing that I will say to everyone here. This is my leader side going. When you have a team, when you're leading someone, you want to make sure that you're also paying attention, or if you're delegating tasks, you also want to make sure that you're paying attention. What I did was I wrote the script and I said here. And I think that's my fuck up. I could have added, looking back, I'm going to answer my own question. Looking back, yes, I would totally add a few more things to extend the length, especially B-roll, a bit more dialogue, you know, maybe if another character, a cop even, something to build on what's already there. It's a great foundation, like I said, but it's definitely things that could have been. And you'll all watching this, you'll see that with each project, we definitely grew into our shoes, our boots, and our responsibility. I'll say that. Let me go into this next question.
Mm-hmm.
What did directing your debut short teach you about yourself that acting never did?
Ooh, okay. Um, well, I I think it's patience.
Mm,
Like, again, like I was saying on set, I would be, playing on my phone. Um, but I think knowing that there's so many steps to the process, like you could always think about it, but there's so much shit that happens behind the closed doors. You know what I mean? That nobody knows about. I
mm,
mean, I remember, like, even when they were pulling up to the location, we had to, like, just another thing, like, just to add on, like, we had to put them in a different parking spot because, like, some of them were reserved. So it was like a longer walk for them. There were some awkward moments in there where we were just like sitting right next to each other. We weren't talking, and I think it taught patience. You know what I mean? Like, no one was there to make money. And remember, like how I said in the beginning of this, all I wanted from acting was that whole lot of $1 million that actors were making down in Hollywood, right?
yeah,
Um, this was to show and prove all of us that were on set, and like it wasn't for profit. It was so we could show on YouTube what we're capable of.
I love that, and that's exactly what we did. That's
Yeah.
exactly like I said. We set that foundation. We're gonna sidetrack a little bit because I believe I
Mhm.
have two more questions, but I want to get into this because a lot of individuals don't know this. You're 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 playing a bit of a hybrid role here for me in Party Girls. You're doing first AD, and then you're also co-directing while on set sometimes.
Yeah.
So your job primarily first AD when we're not filming is the scheduling, working with the crew and stuff like that. The main link, I guess. And then while you're there on set, you're also helping with the narrative. You're also pushing the focus. You're also, and when I say pushing focus, I mean like helping the actors get into the scene, um, and a various amount of other things. Do you think that collection led you to saying yes to wanting to help in Party Girls?
Well, for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, I really liked directing Collection. We filmed Collection when I was in high school. I just graduated this year, so um freaking I was already in a film class for my senior year. It was my only film class in high school. But I was already directing some short films that were tasked to me for, my midterm, my final exam and whatnot. And those pushed me to do Collection, and Collection pushed me to do this Party Girls.
Hmm.
Like, I don't just enjoy being an actor. I love the whole industry and how it is. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like even just thinking about it now, I remember I auditioned for General Hospital.
Oh.
Very long going show. It has like 20 seasons, right?
Mm.
But like I never really thought about it till as I'm talking about it right now. When I went into that room, there was maybe 5 people in there. You had the executive, you had the casting director, and being someone so high up, but also trying to reshape the idea of wanting a certain actor, a certain look for this role. Like, that just seems like a cool job. You know what I mean? And that's why I love the industry how it is. I love movies. I love acting. I love directing now. Like, it's all a learning process, but it's just like when you're flying a plane. I fly planes now, so I'm using analogies
Yeah.
like this.
Let's get into
When
it.
yeah, when you're up in the air, the hardest part is doing the pre-flight checklist, making sure that every instrument works. But when you're in the air, it's fun. You know what I mean? Like, you're flying, you're also mapping out where you want to go. Like, there's so many steps and things that you have to do to complete the one objective, which for us it's to make the short film, to make the movie, to get out there, to post on Instagram, to market, to advertise, you know what I mean? And the process is all fun to me.
Yeah. That's one thing I always say when people ask me what's my favorite part about the filmmaking process. I say making the film.
Yeah.
Making the film in its entirety, from development in pre to pro to post. I love production. To a point where when people ask like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a filmmaker. You know, there's no category I'm not in. I enjoy it so much. You know, I want to be in the writer's room just as well as I want to be in the editor's room, just as well as I want to be in Video Hut or Video Village. The same way I want to be, you know, with the actors and on stage. I want to do a play as well. I know I don't have a lot of time on my hands when it comes to a play. So when it comes down to you mentioned being on set for other projects. You were also in Prisoner's Daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beckinsale and Brian Cox, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, Kate Beckinsale, amazing woman. Brian Cox, amazing man. I said that like I know them personally. I don't. But I know their work. Brian Cox, that show Succession.
Of course.
My
Yeah.
God. What was it like? Was there a I guess I'll ask that first. Was there a moment where you got to see a scene that you weren't in come to life, like right in front of you?
Let me think. Honestly, yes and no.
Mm.
When I was there on set, they call the actors for certain days because those are the certain days that you're only going to be filming. They don't want to. I mean, they don't want to pay you any more than you really need to, right? So I was there for about a day and a half. Gosh, the shoot day, the first day was like 16 hours. I mean, literally nonstop.
Wow.
It was insane. But I guess the scene that I did watch that came to life was so I was getting beat my ass up in the bathroom, right? And so then the camera pulls off an actor named Christopher Convery, super cool guy, friend of mine now. They pull him off, and you see all the kids reacting in the background, like, oh my God, what the hell? And you see the one of the teachers pull him off, and he's like, everyone back to class now. And like knowing that it was because this fight that I did, and watching that come to life, I was like, dang, like they doing all this for like this scene that me and Christopher had. This is just insane, man.
What was it like getting the call that you got the part to be in a film with these two star-studded actors?
Well, definitely my biggest film yet to come. It was a sigh of relief. I know I said that earlier, but like knowing that this work can actually not finish, but this work can level me up and I can see it now. I got the call back, hey, we need you here this day. Like, I mean, dude, I walked on that set with my own trailer with the freaking character name of mine that I was playing. I said, boy, what the hell? This is so fire. Oh my gosh. They're handing me snacks, water. Oh my, I felt like I was living in like Paris or something. Eiffel Tower, a little something,
Oh man. And where
Man.
did you guys shoot at? Where did you guys shoot?
We shot in Vegas.
Mhm.
I forgot the school. I think there was actually a school in Vegas called Las Vegas Day School. I think that's what it was called.
Oh wow.
But yeah, there was just trailers in the back where the playgrounds were, and we were huddled up there. We did a couple scenes where we were walking through the hallways and I was bullying him. You see the scene in the movie where I have the knife, I put it up to his neck, saying, like you're quitter, you're embarrassing, you're all this, right? Then I get beat up. Then I'm sitting in the principal's office with the other kid that was helping me bully him. Kate Beckinsale walks in. We have a little confrontation, and then yeah. Oh, and it was amazing meeting Kate and seeing Catherine Hardwick work on that film. Holy crap! Like,
Yeah. If y'all haven't seen The Prisoner's Daughter, it's
Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime.
Yeah, go check it out, guys. Coop, let's continue down to our next question.
Uh-huh.
How has collection reshaped the way you approach storytelling going forward?
Okay, so it helped me reshape the way I approach storytelling by having the intention that anything can be an idea.
Mm,
Like there wasn't a whole lot of quote unquote improv when we were on set, meaning like, man, should we have him say this? Like we didn't really change anything.
yeah,
Um, but when something did change, it was a good. Like we were walking around, bending down in the kitchen, and I remember it's the shot of Gabe when he's leaning on the door.
yeah,
It wasn't just head on, but it was through like a little plant and a little vase that was right next to it, and you see
yeah.
his body right there. Um, and that was a really good shot, and it helped express the way I wanted the audience to feel, like insanely. And we weren't even thinking about that before the shoot date. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we do more of that now for Party Girls than anything that we've done before.
Yeah,
And I actually like it. You know, I like working with the actors on different nuances and changes. And one thing that we one thing that we have a fun time doing is one, communicating the why, but then also like doing some recon and actually like educating ourselves on not only the space, the environment, like making sure that, you know, background noise is at a minimum, the space can meet our demands. um we were doing a scene recently for Party Girls, and we just let the camera roll at some point
yeah,
because we were so comfortable with what we were getting and what we had already got. We just said, hey, let that shit roll, man.
yeah, yeah.
You know, we're always thinking ahead, and I like that about us. But I do believe it's come from taking that step for each and every film that we've done, you know, moving forward. Knowing that you helped on, knowing that you worked on collection, we let you rest for your high school graduation. You were dealing with a lot uh,
Yeah.
to the finish line, my boy. But you straight out of high school, you said, I'm gonna work on this film with Isiah. Um, Reading the script, what led you to Party Girls? Like, what made you say yes after reading that script?
Well, honestly, I wouldn't even say it was the script. Like, I think it's just the chemistry that me and you had. I wanted to work on another project with you. And I don't mean to glaze. Like, I'm just being so serious. Like, it could have been any other script. And but I did feel that the Party Girls definitely had some potential in something that we wanted to create. I mean, not that it has the same tone nor theme as the Fairfax incident, but it's definitely really close in my opinion. So
Yeah,
I was like, if we already made the Fairfax as good as it was, like the Fairfax could have been our rehearsal, and then this is the real project. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I yeah.
I like that. If you could speak to actors who are considering directing their first project, what advice would you give them?
Well, it's so fun. It's one of the coolest thing that you can do for at least just one time in your life. You have to try it, but it's difficult. There is a lot that happens behind closed doors, but it's necessary if you want to become an actor. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say, um, I want to say Leo actually directed a film early on. Damn, I forgot what it was. I'm pretty sure he did. Because I remember talking about it with my mom. You looking it up right now?
Yep.
Yeah. He co-wrote The 11th Hour, and I just watched that recently.
Hmm.
It was a cool movie. But he co-wrote it, and so I guess what I'm going for is that um it's necessary to direct a movie if you want to be an actor. Like, to okay, an analogy, to be an NBA player, you need to understand what everyone's use is on the court. As a point guard, you're there to dribble, facilitate the floor. Center, you're there to set screens, drive to the paint, dunk on them. um, but you have to understand everything that's going on around you. In a restaurant, it's easy to just make drinks and everything, but as the manager, you need to realize like what the hell everyone's doing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. man your stations. I got to make sure you're manning those stations 100%. I was saying that earlier. If you're going to delegate a task, make sure to go over those things, make sure to check them. I always say it's not about what you do, it's what happens to people when you do what you do. And I think what you're doing is going to change a lot of lives, whether it's acting. People are going to see you on the screen and they're going to say, wow, it's really relatable. The amount of emotion that you put into your characters. Are they going to see the work ethic and be like, God damn, I didn't like the movie, but I like that guy, Cooper Nelson. He's a great actor, and I think he should get an Oscar, whether it's supporting or just the lead. But then it's also about what happens to other people. And I think the light that we've shined along the way is so bright. We just have to literally stick to our guns. The same amount of effort that we put into filmmaking, we have to make sure that we're putting that into our personal lives, into our relationships. And you want to make sure that you're watering those specific fields, And I only say that because dude, it really does become a distraction, I was talking to Taylor about this, and I mentioned this in the last episode. Imposter syndrome. We've talked about that before. Not feeling like we're supposed to be there and in that room. I think we've definitely earned this moment. I will ask one last question. You playing Jacob Fairfax, and you feel free to say yes or no. It's totally okay. You playing Jacob Fairfax in this film. Not everyone that didn't go to the premiere had a chance to see this movie. Will Jacob Fairfax make a return?
When he will make a return, it's yes. Yes.
We love it.
Jacob Fairfax will make a return soon.
We love it. We love it.
Yeah.
Well, Cooper, I want to thank you for doing the director's interview. I think it's been these 2 episodes that I've done. This is probably one of my favorite ones. I'm not gonna lie, and it's not because I know you, but it's because it's amazing seeing someone who grow. I've known you since you were 8 or 9, so it's now you're 18 going on 19 or 19?
Yeah.
So it's seeing you grow, and then not only that, but bro, I can't name another person and be like, yeah, he's a pilot. I don't know one other than pilots at the airport. So it's amazing knowing you. I flaunt your name in every room that I'm in. I give you the Kat Rebelski treatment all the time. If there's a movie, I'm just like, Cooper could have done that better. Everyone, don't forget to comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the interview and you want to see more episodes and you want to, just see this go a little bit further. Don't forget to share with us some of your favorite films, some of your favorite actors in the comments below. Cooper, you want to sign us off with anything?
Dude, man. Well, I appreciate y'all who actually watched this, took the time to study this interview. I think it's really cool acting. I love it so much, and I hope I can influence anyone that is thinking about it or wants to know more about me. You can follow me, Cooper Nelson Actor, on Instagram. BNI Media Productions, YouTube. Check out the collection, check out the film. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. You can even leave it on the comments on this video. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening in.
We love it. Next episode, guys, we're going to be meeting with Kat Rebelski, the director of Love Goes. In that episode, we'll go over a lot of things. Luckily for that project, there was no specific on-set issues or anything. We kind of just went in and got out, literally. But with this, we went over some amazing details. Again, guys, don't forget to comment, and subscribe. Coop, I'll have this out on a certain day. Again, John didn't even see the final cut, so I'm not going to show you a final cut. It'll just be released. Throughout the next few weeks, you'll probably forget what you said. You'll probably think, oh shit, I fucked up. I flubbed the word, but your boy got you. All right?
Say less.
All right, take it easy, y'all. All right. Yep.
And action.